Welcome here tonight, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We're thrilled to have you.
We are here at an evening of hope. We're so excited that you signed up and joined us. It's going to be incredible. We have 4 special guests. We have a lot of videos and stories that we want to share with you. It's going to be a great evening. And I want to remind you to go to aneveningofhope.org and go to that website and then click on Hope Fund. And everything you give, even if it's $1 or more, will be doubled and matched up to $100,000. So we need your continued partnership as we continue to bring hope to people in need here in Baja.
Thanks. Let's roll that first video.
Since 1990, YWAM San Diego Baja has been in the business of building. Ask our neighbors, and they can point you towards one of the 5,000 houses that we've had our hands on, and your hands too. But you're helping us build a lot more than just houses. You're building people. Building in the communities and in the classroom. Through relationship, discipleship, investing in skills, and spiritual growth. In students from over 30 countries and over 7,000 volunteers each year. So that God's people are equipped to go. In Jesus' name. You're helping us build communities of hope, empower local leaders, uplift families, and engage the next generation. So that both our students and our neighbors can find and fulfill their God-given roles. So they can serve the Lord regardless of wealth, class, or country of origin. You're helping us transform the world by building the kingdom of God. With every hammer and nail, every book and Bible, every class, and every soccer ball kick, we're building. One student, one family, one child, and one volunteer at a time. All to see people who are called, no matter where they're from, equipped to go, serve, and transform wherever the Lord leads. Because what we love building most here in Mexico and around the world is hope. And hope changes everything.
Wow, hope does change everything. We're here in Baja. We're committed to bring hope to people. Right now, as you know, Homes of Hope is a bit on pause, but we're helping people with so many things. You'll hear a few reports about that in just a few minutes. I want to remind everybody to go to the event website, aneveningofhope.org, click on the Hope Fund, and everything tonight will be doubled up to $100,000. Well, it's my joy and just great privilege to invite Patrick Lencioni to come share. Patrick, first thing I want to ask you, you've done 2 Homes of Hope builds with us.
Been a while, but I remember it very well. It's such a huge impact on our family and our company.
Yeah, we had such a great time with you. And I remember not mocking, but playing with your 5 dysfunctions of a team and making that all about Homes of Hope. We had a great laugh. But what would you say to other business people that are looking for a team building event? What would you say about Homes of Hope and how that might be a good fit once COVID lifts?
Yeah, it's impossible to describe the impact it has in getting to know the people you're serving and the humanity, the connection you make with them, and what it does to the people. Like, we brought our whole company down, and it was extraordinary. We still have the pictures in the wall in the kitchen. We talk about it, and it's a life-changing event. My kids, are graduating college now, and the different perspective that gave them. This is just the best thing you can do, to bring together a group of people to really do something meaningful, to get to know one another, and to come back as a stronger team. I think it's a fabulous, fabulous team building exercise. Much better than catching each other falling out of a tree or blindfolding each other or one of
I think you're right. And so we're here waiting for you. Hopefully in the next month or two ahead that we'll be able to get back to Homes of Hope.
Oh, such a great experience.
But Patrick, as we're in the middle of lots of different crises all around us, but particularly with COVID, and I know I'm not going to start name dropping, but I know you mentor and coach CEOs in some of the world's biggest companies. What does hope look like in the sphere of economy, and what kinds of conversations are you having with other executives and other companies, and what would you say to us in this realm of the economy and how we look for finding hope in these days?
I think something really interesting happened in the shutdown, this worldwide shutdown, that people actually became more human. Now, for those organizations that didn't lean into that, it was a really difficult time. But I think most organizations actually began to look at each other as the children of God that they are, whether they call it that or not, call it and understand him. But we actually leaned into our humanity and saw each other at home and looked at one another's personal issues. And I think that the world of business will become a more hopeful one because we're going to be our whole person when we go back. And I know we got to get the economy going. We got to serve our customers. But even in that, there's something more human that's going on. We're recognizing that this thing called work and these things called jobs and this thing called an economy is made up of people with lives and families. And so I think that great hope comes out of this. God never gives us challenges that don't make us better and don't draw us closer to him if we cooperate with him. And I definitely think that's true. I think 50 years from now, people will look back and say, work became more human as a result of that common challenge that we had.
Yeah, so well said. And, one of my favorite thoughts is in Hebrew, the root word for worship and work is actually the same word. So the idea of work is worship or vocation or identity, that God created us for purposes to care for the garden and beyond. Is such a great thought. Work is not punishment, but it's fulfillment.
No,
right?
and the purpose of a job is not money, it's dignity in and of itself.
Yes.
And that's why when this whole thing started, we actually had a kind of a campaign to help fight for people's jobs. And we said, let's ask people if they want to take a voluntary pay cut in our organizations to help somebody else avoid losing their jobs. And we had CEOs doing that who hadn't thought about that, who were actually able to pool people together and avoid cutting jobs by sharing the burden. We had a pastor hear us say that, go to his church. It was this priest, and he said, is anybody willing to do this? And people were like, I would take far more than a 15% pay cut. I can afford a 40% pay cut. Let's do that so we don't have to lay off Bob or Jan. Yeah. And it was like, what an amazing thing that people actually poured in together and realized that the dignity of work is more important than the dollars you get for it.
And I think the quality of the human spirit where you ask, not tell, and invite somebody to share in generosity, that people enjoy giving and they're willing to sacrifice if they're asked. It's very different than if you're just told.
Well, this is why charity, like what you're doing, is better than raising taxes. First of all, it's inefficient. Bureaucracies build themselves up. But one of the things that people around the world, actually many Americans, don't understand is the majority of charitable giving in the world comes from the United States.
Yeah.
And Europe is not big on charity individually. And I never knew that until I went and talked to somebody who actually was a charitable person in Europe. And they said, all the money they get is from the United States. I said, why? And they said, because people in Europe tend to believe, not all, but that the government provides everything.
Yeah. And that would be a very different mindset for the U.S., where we, until really recently in our modern history, almost all charity came from churches and individuals, et cetera, versus government. I was noticing
It's so great, yeah.
We were talking about this before we started recording, but at the last, maybe a Super Bowl or two back, I saw Subaru cars. If you buy a car, money goes to cancer. Stella Beer, water in Africa, and people were linked. Of course, Tom Shoes is famous for that. But I think what I love about that shift in the business culture is I think economy is meant to benefit community, not just one or two individuals. And I think those companies that are are getting that. And so we've got one company, which you know, Defenders, has brought 8,000 employees, spouses, and kids through Homes of Hope over a 10-year period. They built over 300 homes. And the CEO, Dave Lindsay, said to me, "You have helped change our culture from a company that gives to a company of givers." And I thought it was such a great shift. So do you have any other thoughts on the shift in the culture, the U.S. economy around giving as part of the economy?
You know, it's interesting because one of the things we do now, we've done at our company for years, and it's kind of become common practice, is that when we go through our weekly scorecard, we go through like all of our major goals, and then we go through and we do morale and finances and book sales and product sales and consulting. And then we get to, and we talk about giving. That's one of the standard things we do. And we're like, so what's the last group we gave to, and what's going on in the world, and what can we do? And that's because it's the right thing to do. But for the people who work here, we want to know that we're doing something more than just lining our own bank accounts or making enough money to pay our kids' tuition. As important as those things are, God placed in all of our hearts the desire to love and help others. And I think that when companies allow their employees to become givers, it itself is a gift, and it changes their lives and their families' lives.
So putting that in that scorecard of how you think about your results as a company. And I want to thank you. I think for 4 years in a row, different ones of your company have mentored us for free. I have no idea what you charge other people, but we're so grateful that you've served us. And we've got stuff in our documents and in our mindset as leaders that we've gotten from the Table Group. And we're so grateful for the partnership and your generosity, just being mentored as a nonprofit leader. It's so helpful to have that input, and our whole team appreciates it.
And we're really proud of the people that have served you. I'm so glad they have. But I just want to say, anybody listening out there, getting involved with this, financial giving is great. Going down and building a house is great. Seeing these wonderful people in Mexico that need our help and that just need to know that other people care. I just love what you and your family have done, and I'm so thankful to be a part of it, and even to be here for these 10 minutes to talk to you.
Yeah, thank you, Patrick. And I'll give you the final word as we look at how do you personally pass on hope to others as your final question.
Well, I think for me, it's being willing to share the hope that's inside you, and we need to love on people and we need to be there for them, but it's okay to talk to them about Jesus. You know, that word Jesus is still the most controversial word in the world. And that's because there's no other word like it. There's no one like him. And so it's easy in the world today, in this post-Christian world, for people to say, well, just be good to people. But if you're not sharing the truth of Jesus and what he can do in your personal life, you know, that is what this is all about. So.
Yeah, fantastic. And I love the Apostle Paul at the end of Romans. So he's been around a while, and I think it's Romans 15:13. May the God of hope, by the power of the Holy Spirit, fill you with this hope. And, you know, we serve a God of hope. And, you know, for anybody listening tonight, yeah, just it's God. I love God answers the phone 24/7. He's available all the time to meet with us if we reach out and ask for his help. So thank you, Patrick, for joining us. And so appreciate the Table Group and all of your books. I've read them all, and just so appreciative of your time.
Well, God bless you guys.
Thank you so much, Patrick. What a joy it is to serve a God of hope and to be able to share hope with our lives. You know, since this pandemic has started in Mexico, it's hit hard. And we asked Yessi to share with us a little bit about what that's been like here locally.
As the crisis hit the city of Tijuana, people were told to shelter in place. As they did this, people's money started to disappear. You know, people that had probably a little bit of savings started using them all. And soon they were in a very difficult position when they had no money to provide food for their loved ones. One of our staff members from YWAM San Diego Baja was able to encounter a family in need. And this family, in the middle of tears, were able to express that everything that they had in their fridge for that week is just a half-empty jar of mayonnaise and a half of a lettuce. Can you imagine being in that situation when you can't provide for your loved ones, neither for you, and you have no idea what you can do to make this happen? You know, I cannot help it but to imagine family after family. As a matter of fact, thousands of families across the city of Tijuana crying out to a God, you know. If you are there, would you please show yourself? If you are there, please do not let us go hungry during this crisis. And you know, as YWAM, we are moved to be God's hands and feet day in and day out. So at the beginning, when we heard this, we started with the goal to feed around 400 families, right? And we're like, how can we do this? How can we make this possible? So some of our staff members start planning how we could fundraise to feed these 400 families. Little that we know is that the God was going to surprise us with the generosity of many of you guys. We were able to provide these bags of food for each family, you know. And these bags of food, we were able to put very essentials for each family to be able to eat up to 2 weeks, you know. And not only that, we're demonstrating God's love and His faithfulness, but we're also sharing that there's a God, that there's hope. We were able to put this little note in their bags where we can just give them some information about the virus and how can they protect, you know, about their families and their loved ones from this virus. And up to date, we have been able to feed more than 3,000 families in the city of Tijuana and the city of Ensenada. So in the midst of this crisis, we've seen the goodness of God and His heart provide for its people. We've been able to see beautiful things coming out of this hard time. We've been able to see the locals rising up. You know, they're being the army so they can be the answer to the challenge that their community are going through. For example, we've known this lady called Rocio in an area of Tijuana called Valle Verde. Valle Verde, it's a community formed by hundreds of indigenous people that have traveled from the south in the hopes of a better future. And things have been rough for these families, right? So Rocio, in the middle of this crisis, was moved to invite hundreds of families into her house. And she was expressing to all of these families, I don't know how, but I'll find a way to feed you all. Now, we know something about Rocio. She's a woman of faith, a woman of hope. Her eyes are set on God. And I know for sure, I know for a fact that probably she cried out to God for an answer, you know, and we're able to hear this call, and we were moved into action. We were able to say yes, to respond in partnership with Rocio to feed hundreds of indigenous families on the city of Tijuana. Beautiful stuff is taking place. We've been able to see our staff, minister into a deeper level to the families of Tijuana. When we show up to their homes with a bag of food, we are expressing out loud that there's a God that cares for them. There's a God that has not forgotten them, you know? And there's a God of love and hope for everyone that cries out to Him. So today we want to celebrate what the Lord is doing, but also we want to thank you. Thank you because you are part of a miracle, of thousands of miracles that have taken place in the middle of this crisis.
Na chinderando, na dikasindarando na minushikando yanti iya ya nyuyibi yo, cheni nyuyibi yo, subinda nyuyibi yo ya chindeno na mikuwe shikando mira ura na dikasindando ti iya na nushikando subinda ndi ya parte kuya ndi ya yo kundi tu iya kaishindo tashit shabindando.
Wow, it's incredible how many people here in Baja are still hungry because they're sheltering at home and many of the factories are closed. So if you'd like to help us continue to bring food to people here in Baja, you can go onto the eveningofhope.org website, click on the Hope Fund, make your contribution, and everything you give tonight will be doubled. Well, I'm so excited to have Governor Bill Lee with us tonight. We met many years ago as you brought your whole family to do Homes of Hope. I think you've done 4 or 5 builds. I don't know the exact number, and maybe you don't either, but tell us about your first build trip and a little bit about your story. I know you've had some hardships and losses, and you were able to find hope through some of those struggles. So tell us a little bit about what's it like to struggle to find hope in difficult times.
Yeah, thanks for having me be a part of this, and thanks for what you do, by the way. For those of you watching this, Sean and I met, I don't know, over 20 years ago, 22 or 3 years ago, on a build, and my wife and my children and our family came down, and we've been several times, and it's been an incredible opportunity for me to serve, but mostly for my family to be served. And the work there ministers to people on both sides of the build. And so, thanks for having me. And you referenced challenges. So my first wife's name was Carol Ann, and she was killed in 2000 in a tragic horseback riding accident. My youngest was 4. My oldest was 14, had 4 kids, and it certainly turned my life upside down. And but God has a powerful way for those who walk with Him of taking even tragedy and making it transformative and bringing hope in the midst of hopelessness. And I learned that in some really difficult, powerful ways. And so, I began through that process of an understanding that hope is a powerful force that God provides for us, but that allows us to walk forward. And it can even be used to kind of sharpen our focus. I've said many times, what was the most tragic season was the most transformative, that I became more purposeful. My life became more meaningful. I sorted through what mattered and what didn't. It actually led to, I really think that it led to this decision that I ever made to run for office, because I'd never been engaged in politics in my life before. But, that understanding of what mattered and what didn't caused me to become more involved in nonprofit work and serving people in Mexico and Haiti, in Africa and Iraq. My children got involved in inner city work, and that led to public policy around education. I got involved in prison ministry that led to public policy around criminal justice reform, and one thing led to another, and I found myself thinking, I need to serve in a new way, and made a decision, ran for governor, and here I sit. And so hope is a powerful provider of vision and direction for people. I mean, God, if we will allow Him to give us hope in the midst of unusual circumstances, then it transforms our lives forever. And you all do that every day when you bring hope into those families. The multiple times we've been there, and it, you say it, I've seen it, it's happened in my own life. When you have hope, your entire trajectory of your life can be changed forever. Mine certainly has. And so those families that are being transformed by the work of your ministry.
Thank you so much. I know in our courtyard, we put a plaque up in honor of Carol Ann. As for me, I will always have hope. And you said that's one of your favorite scriptures on hope. And
let me interrupt you there. When my wife Maria, the Lord gave me the most remarkable woman to marry 11 years ago, and Maria and I have we've done ministry work ourselves together, but as we decided to campaign, we bought an old RV. We did a big grassroots campaign, and we went to 95 counties in 95 days and went all over the state running. And on the side of that bus, we had Psalm 71:14. It said, "As for me, I will always have hope." And I used that in my stump speeches because, people need hope, especially right now in our world and in the challenges and struggles that people face. And, while I can't give hope, I can deliver a message of hope. And even, I can deliver that as governor. I can deliver that through policy. I can deliver that through the way I relate to, constituents and people. So, yeah, that verse has meaning to me. It blesses me to think it sits out there on that beautiful spot on your patio out there, and it has become a powerfully meaningful scripture for me throughout my life.
And I think, Bill, what I love about how you live your life is you don't see Republican, Democrat, Independent. You see people. You're truly a servant. You find greatness through serving, which I know we find in Scripture that we find greatness through serving. And just love the steady hand that you have. You don't have unkind words for anyone, even your opponents. You just model integrity and really working to benefit everybody in the state of Tennessee. And hopefully some of the things that you're leading out in can inspire some of the other states as well. But I'm so appreciative. I'll give you the final word, but we're so thankful that you joined us for this evening of hope, and so thrilled that we got to be friends many years ago, and that you're loaning us a little bit of your social capital tonight. But we're here to continue to serve the poor. We've done 7,000 homes for the poor in 24 different countries, and we want to continue to do that. We got energy. We're still going, and we appreciate your partnership and friendship.
Yeah, Sean, I'm delighted and thrilled and excited to be a part of this, and you're a very gracious friend to say the things that you said about me. But I think the longer I live, the more I believe that, and this too actually came from when you have a tragedy in your life, and all of us will or do at some time in our life. We go through some real hard things, really difficult times, but you realize that life really is pretty short. And especially when you get to be old like me, you realize how quickly it passes. But you also know that there are very few things worth pouring your heart and your life into. And you and your family and that ministry has inspired, who knows, certainly me and people like me, to pour my life into things that will be eternal and transform people's lives forever. That's what I want to do in the spot that I'm in. We're each called to a different place, but I'm really grateful for what you do, and really, really grateful for your ministry and the lives that has changed across the world and into eternity. So thank you, brother.
Thank you, Governor Lee. We so appreciate your time, and look forward to the next time we can have breakfast or lunch or some gathering together, and we're so appreciative of your time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Wow, thank you, Bill Lee. So great to hear from him. For us as a YWAM San Diego Baja staff, one of the hardest things that we've faced during this pandemic has been putting a pause on what we love to do in building homes for the poor here in Tijuana and in Ensenada. Our hearts are grieved for the families who are still waiting. We wanted to introduce you tonight to a wonderful lady named Maria, and she's going to share a little bit about her family and what it's been like as they wait to receive a home.
Due to COVID-19, Homes of Hope has had to put a pause on building homes for the poor. This means families in need are still waiting for a home.
Dios los bendiga, me llamo María del Rosario Barraza y mi esposo se llama David Medina. Yo soy de Durango, mi esposo es de Michoacán, mis hijos son de aquí de Tijuana, mis nietos también son de Tijuana. Sí, aquí viven conmigo. Somos 9. Nosotros eran vendedores de flores. Ahorita mis yernos, mis hijas se van a vender chocolates, paletas, mazapanes. Yo llevo con mi esposo 18 años. Pues ahora sí que con luchas y pruebas, pero ahí vamos. Ahí vamos, no los quejamos. Sí. Vivíamos con una pastora, pero también por los problemas. Pues por el lugar, porque estaba muy chiquito y no podíamos hacer lo que hacemos aquí, que pueden mis hijos, tienen más libertad pues que allá. también por eso me salí de allí, me fui con mi mamá otra vez y allí vivíamos en un cuartito, los 8 personas, en un cuartito chiquito. En este terreno tenemos como 2 meses aquí viviendo. Teníamos esta carpita y allí dormíamos dos, mi yerno y mi hija y los niños y yo y mi esposo. Y aquí otra carpita y ahí vivía mi otra hija con su esposo. Sí se pone así o frío o con viento, pero ya le pido a Dios que me la aleje más lejos y ya no llueve, sale el solecito y hasta ahorita nomás los da un poco de miedo las víboras, los animales, que ya los han salido. Ya hace poquito, cuando recién llegamos, casi le picaba a los niños uno. Y a mi hijo, el que estaba aquí, también le iba a picar otra. A mi esposo también.
We asked Maria why she would like to receive a home of hope and what she might say to the people who would come to build her home.
¿Por qué? Pues para meter a mis hijos, para que tengan su espacio. Para que, ahora sí, para no pasar las lluvias mojándonos. Pues yo fui en marzo, el 16 de marzo tuve mi primera junta y el 26 de marzo era la otra, pero se suspendió. Y yo les mando bendiciones y Dios me los cuide y me los proteja donde quiera que anden y yo confío en Dios que van a venir.
My heart goes out to Maria and other families like her that are waiting for a home of hope. I want to encourage you again to go to the website aneveningofhope.org, click on the Hope Fund button, and everything you give will be doubled up to $100,000. One of the things that we're going to start doing is we're going to do some community builds. So we're going to take people who live in the same community and get neighbors building for neighbors. And so for $12,000, we can get a house furniture package and get a whole community build going. The other thing we want to do is we want to continue to help people with food. I'm just always surprised at how many people are hungry. And of course, it makes sense. They're sheltering at home, they're not working, they don't have any money. And so this food relief program that we started has been vital, and we want to continue to engage and support the families that are in need of food out in the communities that we serve. The other thing is we want to have some student scholarships. And tonight you're going to hear about a young man named Ever who grew up in a home of hope. We met him when he was 11. And we worked with him, and he was part of our circular reading club, and then he kind of came through some of our training programs. Well, now he's a full-time missionary. He's a world changer. And so tonight we want to also start a program where we can have a scholarship fund for future world changers. And so this fall, we want to have a goal of having 150 students. That'll be our biggest fall quarter ever. We've had 100, 110 before, so it'll be a little bigger than normal. But we feel we can have students come on to our campus and they don't have to come and go. They can just stay here and kind of shelter here, and we'll take their temperature and do all the COVID-19 protocols and social distancing. But we can have these students come this fall, but most of them don't have the financial resources to participate in our training program. So your gift of $2,000 will help scholarship another world changer. And again, you'll hear a little bit more about Ever in just a few minutes. And so also we just need your general help. You know, we're trying to repair some of our buildings, keep our facilities up and running, keep the lights on while we pivot to some of these new things. And so the Hope Fund is really designed to sustain and grow the ministry of YWAM San Diego Baja. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. We really appreciate your partnership. I appreciate all those who helped us with the matching fund. And again, go to the website aneveningofhope.org, click on the Hope Fund, and drop your gift in. Any size gift is deeply appreciated. And let's get back to our evening. Well, Michael, I see that you're together with us here. So great to see you. And I know how long you've been familiar with YWAM for quite a while. And you just were out in Kona, and you've been out here in Baja with us before. And tell us a little bit about your connection to YWAM.
Well, I've been a fan my whole life, you know. I mean, maybe not when I was in West Virginia, but when I came to Nashville, I started hearing about YWAM and know a lot of people who went to the base for training. A lot of friends of my children actually went to YWAM. And so I obviously became very familiar with Lauren and all the great work that YWAM was doing around the world. So I'm a fan, have been for a long time. So way to go. And hopefully you guys will be able to get back into Mexico. I think that's awesome what you're doing there.
Yes.
So,
and I appreciate the one time you were out here at our campus here in Baja, Mexico, and you did a concert for us. It was great. And you were able to see the beautiful people of Mexico and our coastline and everything. So it's great. So I'm not going to take any more of your time allotted for music. We're going to go right to hear from you. But thank you for sharing with us tonight, Michael. We're looking forward to hearing your songs and your worship. You're such a prolific songwriter and so respected in the body of Christ. And we're so thrilled to have you a part of our evening tonight.
All right. Thank you. Well, blessings to you. So here we go.
All right. Thank you.
Crucified, lay behind a stone. You live to die, rejected and alone, like a rose trampled on the ground. You took the fall and thought of me above all. Above all powers, above all kings, above all nature and all created things, above all wisdom and all the ways of man. You were here before the world began. Above all kingdoms, above all thrones, above all wonders the world has ever known, above all wealth and treasures of the earth. There's no way to measure what you're worth. Crucified, lay behind a stone. You live to die, rejected and alone, like a rose and trampled on the ground. You took the fall and thought of me above all. Crucified, lay behind a stone. You live to die, rejected and alone, like a rose and trampled on the ground. You took the fall and thought of me above all. Like a rose trampled on the ground. You took the fall and thought of me above all. Draw me close to you and never let me go. I lay it all down again to hear you say that I'm your friend. You are my desire. one else will do. 'Cause nothing else can take your place. To feel the warmth of your embrace. Help me find the way and bring me back to you. You're all I want. You're all I've ever needed. You're all I want. Help me know you are near. Draw me close to you and never let me go. And lay it all down again to hear you say that I'm your friend. You are my desire. No one else will do. 'Cause nothing else can take your place. To feel the warmth of your embrace. Help me find the way to bring me back to you. You're all I've ever needed. You're all I want. Help me know you are near. You're all I want. You're all I've ever needed. You're all I want. Help me know you are near. Help me know you are near. Help me know you are near. There is strength within the sorrow. There is beauty in our tears. And you meet us in our mourning with a love that casts out fear. You are working in our waiting. You're sanctifying us beyond our understanding. You're teaching us to trust. Oh, your plans are still to prosper. You have not forgotten us. You're with us in the fire and the flood. You're faithful forever, perfect in love. You are sovereign over us. Oh, your plans are still to prosper. You have not forgotten us. You're with us in the fire and the flood. You're faithful forever, perfect in love. You are sovereign over us. Even what the enemy means for evil, you turn it for our good. You turn it for our good and for your glory. Even in the valley you are faithful. You're working for our good. You're working for our good and for your glory. Even what the enemy means for evil, you turn it for our good. You turn it for our good and for your glory. Even in the valley you are faithful. You're working for our good. You're working for our good, for your glory. Oh, your plans are still to prosper. You've not forgotten us. You're with us in the fire and the flood. You're faithful forever, perfect in love. You are sovereign over us. You're faithful forever, perfect in love. You are sovereign over us.
Wow, what a wonderful evening. And I love hearing from Michael W. Smith. He's always been such an encouragement to me personally, and to have him here tonight was super special. So we're going to talk now a little bit about a little behind the scenes of YWAM San Diego Baja. Most of you know us, you love our staff, but how did we get here? And how's that possible? You know, all of our staff go through a 5-month training program that we call a discipleship training school. And in that time, we really invest in and share with our staff who we are and what we believe and what we do. And we're gonna see a little video now of a young man who, when he was 11, he received a home of hope. He's a grown-up now, and he has gone through our training program. He works with us full-time as a staff member of YWAM San Diego Baja, and we wanted you to hear from him. So let's take it away.
Me llamo Berardo Castillo Cuevas, tengo 22 años, soy de aquí de Tijuana. Mi niñez fue muy difícil. Hubo mucha escasez como de alimentos, mucha como estábamos batallando mucho por la educación. Y pues desde ahí empecé a conectar como con los líderes de Círculo Andante y con los profesores y todo. Entonces ya pues fue un tiempo como de creo que un año más o menos, donde estuve como asistiendo al círculo y todo. Y después del año pues fue cuando me construyeron mi casa, ¿no? Mi recuerdo cuando construyeron mi casa fue cuando estaba como, ya creo que estaba pintando, como todo niño, ¿no? Cuando construyeron su casa. Estaba pintando y estaba mirando, solo me quedé como parado un rato y como estaba mirando que todos estaban como, como martillando y todos como, no, jajaja, bla, y no, como, y riendo y bromeando entre ellos, entre todos. Y creo que fue ahí donde recuerdo esa parte donde yo quería ser como esas personas, ¿no? Yo quería ser como ellos, y fue donde Dios ahí me dio mi promesa, ¿no? Y quizás mi llamado, que me dijo como, no tengo esto para ti, ¿no? En tu tiempo, obviamente. Mi familia cambió demasiado cuando pues, nos construyeron en la casa. Después de la construcción, creo que fue un impulso como muy, muy grande, tanto económico, tanto como de salud, porque la verdad es que estábamos durmiendo en una casa de campaña, duramos mucho tiempo durmiendo en una casa de campaña, y pues el frío, y luego el calor, y fue difícil, ¿no? También. Sí pude ver cómo se levantó una carga de los hombros de mis papás después de la casa, de nuestra casa. Pues fue el seguimiento que me dieron, fue el seguimiento que me dio ese ministerio, y durante todos estos años como continué viniendo al ministerio, ¿no? Durante 10, 11, 12 años, no sé cuántos van. Seguí viniendo al ministerio y creo que pues se abrió la puerta cuando quería entrar a la universidad y no quedé, me estaban saliendo unas cosas mal y dije como ok. Y fue donde ya Dios me dijo, hey, pues ya es hora, ¿no? Y como el ministerio también pues, me estaba abriendo la puerta de que, hey, está esta oportunidad de hacer una ADN, y como ok, lo voy a hacer. Creo que Dios me habló demasiado y me reveló muchas cosas de mí mismo que no sabía, me reveló mi llamado, me dio un valor que antes quizás no lo podía ver, pues no me sentía con el valor de poder hacer cosas como grandes que Dios me está llamando a hacer ahora y que me ha llamado, ¿no? Y después de que hice la escuela de desarrollo comunitario, pues entré de staff y pues ahora estoy sirviendo en ministerio aquí. Me ayudó mucho porque quiero trabajar con mi comunidad. Entonces estoy trabajando con mi comunidad, ¿no? Entonces esa escuela me enseñó mucho de los valores y muchas de las formas y estrategias en las que puedo llegar de una forma sabia y prudente. Pues seguir levantando líderes, ¿no? Y seguir buscando más comunidades para levantarlas y como transformarlas.
Wow, what a great story. It's so exciting when you think of what can happen to a young person's life if they just get a little help and support. I want to invite you to go right now to an eveningofhope.org website, click on our Hope Fund, and make a donation of any size. It'll be matched up to $100,000, and some of those funds will go to help our student scholarship fund so we can see more new generation missionaries raised up like ever. Well, I'm just so excited to be able to introduce Bob Goff to you. He's a New York Times bestselling author and encourager, pastor, lover of God. I just think what he's written is so great. I remember Love Does, which is, I think, one of your first books, Bob. It was one of the few times I ever bought a whole case of books and gave them out to everybody I knew because I felt it was so helpful. And I love the line in the book, too many times we act like bouncers instead of ushers, helping people find their seats. And I just think you create such a great energy to encourage people towards God and also to encourage us to how to love our neighbor, Bob. So you're a great example to all of us. And tonight our theme is Evening of Hope. And so, Bob, as we consider the whole environment of the world today and COVID-19 and all the other things that are happening in society, what does hope look like to you? And what can you say to us to encourage us tonight?
Boy, thank you so much for letting me be with you. I'm so glad I'm with all of you online as well. And my question for you is this: what do you want 2020 to be remembered for? We've had a lot of things that have been distractions and some important things have gone on, but I want the headline to be Hope is Still Alive. And the crazy part is I'm talking to you from this camp I bought because I want to bring people and have them just find a little hope. Here's what I was hoping the first time I came here. I was 23 years old. I'd met Sweet Maria, but she wasn't Sweet Maria Goff, but I wanted to change that. I was just hoping to get anywhere near her. So she came up with Work Crew girls. I came up with Work Crew boys. See what's happening? I got within 10 feet of that girl. And the first night somebody's pacemaker stopped, they keeled over. But I knew how to do CPR. And so this was the beginning of our romance. She thought, you know, he ain't much to look at, but he can be helpful in a crack. What I was hoping is that I would be able to be near my love. And I think what Jesus did is he just wants us to be close to the people that are hurting. He wants us to find people, find a way to intersect them and not be distracted. Satan doesn't need to destroy us. He just needs to distract us. And he's been doing a good job, but we get to make a new headline. And hope is still alive. I'm telling you guys, and it all boils down to this. If we find our hope by taking a genuine interest in the people around us. It's Philippians 2:20. And it's Paul talking about his buddy Timothy. He said, that guy Timothy, He's a guy that takes a genuine interest in the people around him. My hope for you is that we take a genuine interest in the young people, the people that are in our blast radius of love, and that we would start hoping for them what we're hoping for ourselves. And I know what I'm hoping for myself, probably just 4 things: love, purpose, connections, a couple authentic relationships. Boy, I'm telling you, people will hope that you can just give and receive love with them. And I'm not saying love with an agenda, because love when it has an agenda, it isn't love anymore. It's a program. And here's the idea. We want a headline, not a program. And you're the ones to make it happen. Purpose. I think a lot of us have found our purpose in Jesus Christ. We said, my purpose is to love my neighbors and to love God. Like, that's it right there. It's what he told a lawyer like me when he asked him, what's the big deal? He said, I got 2 big deals: loving me and loving the people next to you. A sense of connection. And I think the crazy part in the season where we've been living isolated from one another is that God has taken away all the shallow connections, and it'll unearth the possibility of deeper connections. I want this to be a time, their headline is Bob Goff Went Deeper, filled with hope, but on purpose. And then finally, a couple authentic relationships. Boy, I'm telling you, we don't have to go far away to find those. We can create those authentic relationships right where we are. You just say, this is going to be a safe place for us to have conversations. You can go to Starbucks, make the other person pay, and say, I want 3 minutes of authentic conversation. I don't care what my faith looks like. I care what it is. Let's just talk about what's really going on. A lot of people that know me know I'm a pretty upbeat guy, and I am. I love balloons. The more, the better. But I'm also a guy that gets terribly lonely. Isn't that crazy? Like, you wouldn't guess, like, a happy guy with a Red Sox hat, he gets lonely, but I do. And I've actually found the ability to express that to people, is say, like, I just get lonely sometimes. It's been such a beautiful thing to be able to say that to a person who expressed a genuine interest to me. And what you make possible is those conversations. You make it possible for people to say, in 3 minutes, this is what it seems like it's going on. This is what's actually going on. And when we get that thing right, we get everything right. Love, purpose, connection, a couple authentic relationships. What I want to do is make 2020 the year that people remember. There was a lot of things going on, but the thing that really was standing out in my mind is hope. I was looking towards the horizon, and what I saw was Jesus. Now, I'm a 7 on the Enneagram. If you know the Enneagram, I'm a flaming 7. I'm like, yeah, the enthusiast, if you haven't picked up on that. But what we're tempted to do, some of us, is to skip over between here and the horizon, skip over the middle part. And I want to find my hope by being where my feet are. It's a beautiful saying in the South. Be where your feet are. And I think if we can understand where our feet are, if we know why we're doing what we're doing, we know the direction we're headed, and we just bring people along, create those safe places, then God's going to do what he wants to do in their lives. What we're doing is just creating safe places. Man, I want to be like Switzerland. If I could put a bar of chocolate in a bobsled in my pocket, I would. And you get to create that wherever you are. That's the crazy part about hope. Talk about things that are contagious. Hope's one of them. Cynicism can be one of them. And we push back against that by knowing why we're doing what we're doing. We know the direction we're headed, and we know whose feet we're going to end up at the end of the day. So I'm just so proud of you guys. I just hope that people will connect with you and they'll feel like they just met Jesus Christ himself. Because there are people, we don't have all the answers. We're authentic enough to say, man, I'm figuring out a couple things, but these are the things I'm positive about. I'm positive about Christ and Christ alone. I'm positive about the love of my wife. I'm positive about my kids. And what I'm doing is running home to them. Do you know, as a lawyer, I'm good at memorizing things. It's crazy. I could take the bar exam anywhere and pass it. It's nuts. Did you know in Forrest Gump, he was running back and forth across the United States, kind of like some of you up until 3 months ago. And there's this iconic scene where he's going across the desert and he stops. And everybody running behind him says, like, wait, he's about to say something. Forrest Gump had been running for 3 years, 2 months, 14 days and 16 hours. Don't ask me why I know that stuff. But here's what he said. I think I'm going to go home now. Boy, I'm telling you, I want you to just run home. Run home to your Father in heaven. Run home to your family. Run home to the people in your community and do it with hope. You guys, I love you. I'm proud of you. I'm rooting for you. And I think what people are going to do is they're going to encounter you and see their Father in heaven. And they'll be reminded, it's called the aroma of Christ. They'll be reminded of how good and pure and beautiful and complicated and vulnerable it takes to be a follower of Jesus. Thanks a million for having me on. I love you guys. Looking forward to being with you.
Bob, I have one final question for you.
Come on.
When I work here at the border, there's 5,000 people a month, 900 foreign factories, people making $1.80 an hour. I know you work a lot with high school kids. There's a lot of troubled youth. What do you see when you see an inner city kid or a youth at risk or a border, whatever? How do you get started in hope? I know for me, I just see potential, I don't want to see that wasted, but what's in you? Why do you do what you do? How do you get started bringing hope to someone?
Yeah, so part of it is finding that sparkle, that thing that shimmers in their life. And that's why I'm back to taking a genuine interest. Don't ask the first question, like, what's your name? Or the second question, like, who's your favorite baseball team, as if they play ever anymore. But ask the third or the fourth or the fifth question. Ask, what do you want? Ask them this, what are you hoping for? And one of the crazy things that will happen is that you'll find out they're hoping for some of the things that you're hoping for and be all ears about that. And I'm telling you, from Afghanistan to Mogadishu, we operate some schools for young kids in some pretty crazy places. And the craziest part is this, they're all hoping for the same thing. They all want to be understood. They want to know that they matter. And each of us has that ability. I mean, I just feel so welcome just being on this time with you and with everybody else. I want to have people walk away with that feeling. When they meet you, they just go like, wow, he was actually really interested in me and all of my quirkiness and bobbiness and all of that. But he actually got to the more important questions about, like, what are the things that keep you up at night? What do you want your headline to be?
Yeah, thank you, Bob. I think you exemplify as much as anybody I know, and I don't know you, we're not best friends or anything, but I know you through your books mostly. 1 Corinthians 13 that says you can have all the right answers, but if you don't have love, you don't have anything. And you're a person who brings hope and brings love into people's lives. So thank you for all that you do. And we look forward to future partnership together with you. And God bless, and thanks for joining us on this.
Looking forward to that, you guys. We'll be known for our opinions, and we're going to be remembered for our love. Amen. You guys just keep hoping.
All right. Thank you, Bob.
What an incredible message from Bob. What an incredible evening we've had together. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this evening of hope. We've loved sharing with you. We pray that you are blessed and that you go forward sharing hope with those around us. I think that's really what we need right now. We would love to have you back with us in Mexico sometime soon, so get your passports ready.
Great. Thanks, Ange. Well, we so enjoyed being with you tonight. We're committed to continue to bring hope to people in need. We're here. We haven't gone anywhere, and we really value your partnership. And I want to encourage you one more time to go to aneveningofhope.org, click on the Hope Fund. Everything given tonight will be doubled up to $100,000, and that'll help us continue to bring hope to people in need. And we're so grateful that you joined us tonight. And have a great night, and you go out and bring hope to someone that you know.
I want to live this life unsafe, unsure, but not afraid. What I want is to give all I got somehow. Giving up, letting go of control right now. 'Cause I'm